Hello, I'm Chris, back with Tesla and Tech, and today we're going to do our video a little differently. I'm going to go around the car. I'll be holding the camera so you won't see me, but I'll be talking, and I'll go around the car inside and outside, talk about different things I like and don't like, things I've done, changed, and then I'll summarize at the end. I want to talk a little bit about the fiery crash they are talking about on the news the last couple weeks. So, let's get started. I'll transition while I'm actually talking to you. If I can. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is the headlights. Why the headlights? Well, be honest, they're absolutely terrible. Yeah, they're fine if you live in the city. But if you're out in the country, when I took my trip back to St. Louis, I took a little detour through the country, and there's no lights or anything at all, and it was absolutely horrible. You had no distance whatsoever. That's probably why the 2021 model has different headlights. I'm sure they're improved over these, because these are just absolutely terrible. And to be honest, I think Tesla should replace them for anyone that wants them for free. So we'll walk around. I will say, let's see if I can get close enough. You can see the pearl here. Can't quite tell as I look at the camera because it's pretty bright out here. But the pearl here is gorgeous. Okay, so the pillar camera. I mentioned this before. So there are issues. I have talked to Tesla, and they are going to take a look at this next week and probably replace it. That is the cause of the messages that I got while I was on my trip. So likely they'll replace it, and that goes back to what I said before about full self-driving and what happens when things fail. There's an issue. Would full self-driving cancel? Some of the autopilot stuff did, so I would think it would and wouldn't be able to drive itself. So if there's a steering wheel, fine, you take over, but if there's not, that's a big issue. I'll go on the back here. As you can see, one of the problems that this car seems to have is that doesn't both ends in almost every car. They need to fix that. One thing I have noticed, I didn't go to a great car wash, but wow, does it hold dirt on the back. A better car wash should take care of that, but that's the way it is. Now, I like the handles. Some people don't. I think they're really easy to operate. Not everybody does. Alright, I love the seats in this car. They are very comfortable. And I'll turn the radio down. I'll just stop that for a second. Adjust here a bit. Alright, so while we look at the screen, a couple things that were interesting to me. When I talked to a Tesla tech, so somebody who should know very well what this car can do and not do, I asked them, how do you change the home and work addresses on here? Because it was showing the home and work addresses of the previous owner. This guy called back to his manager and asked, and they actually told him, get this, you have to do a full reset on the car, delete everything that you have in it, all your settings, everything, your profile, and then you can put in a new one. That's a lie. All you have to do is put your finger on the home or work button and hold it for about 2 seconds, and then it pops up and you can change the addresses. Yeah, really easy. You'd think the Tesla guy would know that. Anyway, some other things I want to talk about. Let's see. Alright, we'll do that, and then we'll cancel to get it out of the way. That was quickest. One of the things, let's see, look in the rearview mirror here, and you can't really see out the back. Why? One, the window, while it's very long, it's at a very big angle, and it's tinted, and with that angle makes it much worse. You really can't see. So if I'm somewhere where I need to make a lot of lane changes, like there's one place in the morning I have 1 mile to get over 4 lanes, I just use that, which gives you the rear view and each of the side views. Yes, this one's showing the door right now, but you can see, let me just close that, but you can see your blind spots there. It's a setting. Maybe I'll get to that one somewhere here. Okay. One of the settings I wanted to talk about too, you've heard of one pedal driving, but you have to have the settings set up properly for that. I think it's this one. Yeah. So as you can see in the driving menu, you've got acceleration, which I'm always going to have it on sport. Steering mode also, will always have it on sport. So to get one pedal driving, you have to have the regenerative braking mode in standard. If it's in low, it's not going to brake enough to stop. Also, your stopping mode, I used to put it in creep because that's just like your ICE cars. You let off the gas pedal, it creeps forward. But you can't get one pedal driving that way. It won't stop completely. So I put it in hold mode. I'm not sure if roll will do it for you or not, but I put it in hold mode. Let's see, I thought there was something else I was going to show you. Lights, locks, no. Display, I keep it in auto. You can do whatever you want, of course. And I like when it switches day to night. Just much easier on the eyes to have the black background at night. Driving, showed you that. Autopilot, you can set it up to set the speed at, I got it set up for +8 when I want to use that. Speed limit +8. And there's for speed limit warnings, for collision warnings. You can set that up any way you want. Lane departure warnings. The assist, you know, everyday driving, it doesn't come in real handy unless I'm really tired, and then that's really bad. But when you're on a trip and you do get tired, and that comes in very handy. Navigation, you can set it up to avoid ferries and tolls, and we had a little conversation about that earlier. I do use the HOV lanes, but only sometimes. I don't like spending, I think for me to get to work here in Dallas-Fort Worth, it's $9 each way, and to me that's ridiculously expensive. You can open the glove compartment there. You can set all kinds of other things here, which I don't really mess with. The Sentry mode, I keep it off because it sucks battery power. There are times when I might turn it on when I know I'm going to be in some place very public. You can set up pins. Cabin overheat, that's nice. It'll use up battery power though, so for me, I do live here in Texas where it does get hot. What I'll do is 5 minutes before I go out to the car, I'll just start the temperature and service. You see they adjust the headlights, towing. Wheel configuration is about what wheels you have, what size wheels you actually have, and so on. I think I'll show you mine. It just shows the wheels that came with it and I will probably replace them at some point. They're not bad wheels, but they're quite heavy. I'm quite surprised at that. And if you want to know if you have full self-driving, no one seems to ever want to tell you this, and it's really annoying, but you can see it here. If you have full self-driving, it would say it right there instead of autopilot. So that's quite annoying. You have some quick controls, steering wheel, so on. Overall, I do like this car a lot. There are issues. Like I mentioned today, the headlights just suck. Overall, it drives very, very well and is very, very fast. I've heard people complain about the ride. I do want to talk a little bit about this. So you'll hear people talk about the ride. Now, like I said, I keep mine on sport. For steering mode, it doesn't have a whole lot of effect on the ride. I mean, it'll be indirect, and then your steering's tighter, then it's going to feel a little rougher maybe as you make turns. But this is a sports car. This is a performance model. This is something like a Porsche Macan Turbo as far as that class of a vehicle and what it would handle like. And it does. But all sports cars ride rough. But this one does have some unique features to it. So every suspension is tuned to be really good at certain bumps and really not so good at others. You're trying to avoid a resonant frequency. For those who don't know what a resonant frequency is, and people outside of engineering probably don't, it's an engineering thing. Basically, a resonant frequency is when something goes to a frequency that makes it get worse instead of dampening. Can as much as double. Comes in very important parts on an aircraft. It is important in suspension and car, though. I wonder how Tesla tunes their suspension, because I'll go down a road that you look at it and it's not bumpy. If you look very close, then okay, there's some very minor bumps and you're bouncing all over the place. Other times it drives like every other sports car. So I wonder if they don't look at the resonant frequencies for their suspension. I'm very curious about that. I think they're a well-engineered car, but they can be better. It's one of the holes in their engineering, I think. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about with that? Not a whole lot else. Overall, it is a great car. I've heard people talk about really tight steering, but once again, that's a sports car. So I wonder when these people talk about these things if they've ever owned a sports car. This is the first one they had. If it is, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that, but you're not a car guy. Anyway, so let me stop here for a minute and I'll get out and do a conclusion here and talk about that crash. Reminder, the press will lie and say, Tesla's catch fire again. Try to imply that Tesla's catch fire all the time. It's a lie. Karma had some issues with catching fire due to bad manufacturing processes and quality control on the A123 battery. A123's gone. Karma has died and come back, and they actually make some pretty cool stuff. I like the looks of all their stuff that they're talking about, their SUV and their car. They do have good taste. But that's about the only real fire issues they've had. Talk about fires, a friend of mine had 2 Ford trucks parked that just burned to the ground. No crash, just caught on fire, burned to the ground. When I worked at Boeing, they were talking about a fire that just happened before I moved to that building, where like 5 or 6 cars got wrecked or destroyed by a Ford truck that caught on fire. I believe Ford has the highest fire rate of any car company on earth. I believe they've had more recalls for fires of any car company on earth. I believe it was 1996. Well, let me rephrase that. I know it was 1996, but I believe they recalled something like 10 million cars and trucks because they were catching fire and they blamed their vendor. So let me tell you how this works. Having worked in an aircraft company, you buy from the vendor, but you control what the vendor sends you. You tell them what testing they have to do. You tell them what specs they have to meet. And if they do all that stuff and it doesn't, and you get fires and other failure issues, that's not their fault. That's your fault. Ford wanted to blame them instead of taking the blame themselves. It's not how it works, folks. I mean, if Boeing has a vendor problem and planes crash, Boeing gets the blame. The vendor may get some later, but Boeing gets the blame. Now, if a vendor is not meeting their specs and they're still selling it to you, then that's a whole different thing. And I don't believe that was the case, but I don't know for sure. Wasn't intimately involved. I just was aware of it. So that's it for the crash information. Other news lately, the 2021 does have some differences in the 2020 Model Y. One thing I don't like is when I called the Tesla dealer and talked to them about some of the things I was thinking, maybe I want to wait for the double pane glass or the new headlights and stuff like that. He goes, oh, the Model Y has all that. Yeah, that was a blatant lie. Stop it. You embarrass yourselves, you embarrass Tesla doing that. Just tell the truth. None of that stuff was a huge deal, and if I want to replace these, and I may, then I'll just go replace them. There's some other minor things I don't worry about. I think they changed the center console. Oh, I didn't show that. I did change out my center console to putting carbon fiber look to it. Get rid of that piano black. It works well. It looks pretty good. Let's see, other EV news lately. They did a meetup, I guess, for lack of a better term, at the Tesla factory in Texas here, in Austin. And they had the Cybertruck out there driving around. They had a Plaid Model S out there. So these vehicles are, well, in the case of the Model S, they are making them. I don't think they've released many of them yet or delivered any yet. I think they're about to any day. If they haven't in the last couple weeks, I've been rather busy. Just about every car company is starting to come out with electric vehicles now. More and more GMs. Ford is having their own F-150 coming out. Volvo is going electric, as you're already aware. Lotus is going electric. Wasn't sure if you're aware of that. Porsche's expanding theirs. Pretty soon, everybody's going to have it, and I think it's fantastic. One, you get variety, you get choice. But two, it pushes Tesla to be better, to get better. So it's good for all of us. I thought there was something in the news. They are putting the yoke steering wheel on the Model S. I don't know if you're going to get an option, because I would hate the yoke steering. I just despise it with every fiber of my being. I mean, it works great on a racetrack, but it's not going to work well in everyday driving where you're spinning the wheel, and it's hard to do that with a yoke. Anyway, it's a pet peeve. Other news, Aptera is progressing. I am going to buy an Aptera, at least one. I may buy two. And I'll have all kinds of videos on that too. But I think that's all for today. and I'll get back to you guys in another week or so. I'll let you know what Tesla does with the camera. I'm pretty sure they're just going to swap it out. I don't know if they'll go into a big testing mode because it's a waste of time when it's much easier to swap it out and send it back to the factory and have it tested, if they test at all. I don't know what their root cause analysis procedures are and if they do it to every part or not. I'm very curious about that. They should, and yes, they should hire my company to do their reliability for them, because some of these issues they've had would never occur. I would never allow them to occur. But that's it for today. We'll get back next week or two and have some cool stuff, talk about other EVs, and a little more about other tech, because I have said I'm going to, and I tend to run off about the Tesla stuff and didn't get to the other tech, and I will soon. So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe. We need all those subscribers we can get, and we'll talk to you soon.